What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Mark Howard, and you know what time it is. We talk Cowboys here. That's the name of the show, and that's exactly what we do all the time. Anyway, training camp. Of course, we're in that. We're into 2 weeks now. Finished for the weekend. Today's Sunday. No camp today. The guys are off. They'll pick it back up Monday and prepare for next Saturday. Well, next Wednesday they'll be scrimmaging the Rams, and then Saturday over at SoFi they'll play them in the first exhibition game of the season. So right now, the things I want to talk about, obviously, the elephant in the room, and a lot of people aren't talking about because we know this is part of the contracting process, and it was stated that way. But we heard Micah, and I gave my thoughts and talk about Micah and the position of him when he said, in case you were living under a rock here, sports-wise, football-wise, Micah asked for a trade, went through a whole big tweet and message that I scoffed at. And now Jerry Jones, of course, came and had his press conference to talk with the press out of the field and gave his side of things. And if you look at from Jerry Jones' perspective, is that he playing with it. He understands it, letting know it's part of the process. Look, at the end of the day, if you don't know football, if you don't know what time it is, or you need to be reminded, Micah Parsons is still in the contract. Doing the extension process is fine. A lot of teams do it. A lot of teams see it sensible in locking up their players. Extending them, you can do it at a little lesser price than when the market goes up. All that. That's not what the Cowboys do. Many people are going to make the biggest deal out of it. I look at the four-letter network, as we call it, ESPN. They love to make a big dramatic thing about it, and they know. So don't fall for that. But I need a lot of people to talk about it. At the end of the day, as Jerry Jones has said, he's got the players he wanted to keep. Any big-time star players he wanted to retain, he retained them. And they're getting a nice big check. So at the end of the day, it's okay. But Jerry Jones answered questions. He understood. He just, like he said, this is part of the process. He answered his questions on it. I think it was pretty consistent with what Micah was saying. I think the only thing that probably was sketchy is the question of talking last year when Micah was expressing wanting to get an extension done sooner last year. And I think listening to his message, it may seem like they tried to reach out with Jerry Jones. They turned that opportunity down where it looked like possibly his agent said, hold off, do it closer because you can get more money. Jerry Jones also made a point of saying, glad to see, know he's here, but I'm waiting for that back to get healed. And I know that Mike is probably waiting for that back to get healed too. His back he wants to get healed is having his money backs. Okay, having that money back in him for all the work he's done. He's deserved it, and I have every confidence that he'll get his money with us. He'll get his money wherever, but it's going to be with the Cowboys. Lots of options they can do. So I'm not going to dwell too much on this anymore. Just I wanted to be fair enough to cover what Jerry Jones said in response. I thought it was funny. And there's no hard feelings going on here. People can want to make it this and want to make it that. They just do it because it's the Cowboys. Okay? Like I said, you either are a Cowboy fan or you wish you were a Cowboy fan. And many people who claim other teams and want to talk about the Cowboys, they got all kinds of stuff to say. They got all desires wanting Micah coming there. And I'm like, man, please. Save it for David, all right? Because I know what time it is. So I think that this is just part of the negotiation, part of the talk, part of the... And don't get me wrong. I think Micah is not happy with getting this extension. But Micah has been there long enough and seen how it's gone down. I am very sure and certain that Micah is getting words from the teammates in his ear to say, look, man, this is the bullshit game that Jerry Jones likes to do. He thinks the world of you and knows your play, and he gonna pay you. He's just gonna tell. I'm sure old heads, Emmitt Smiths, Michael Irvin, any of those guys are probably telling him and letting him know the same thing. Don't trip. And I don't think Mike is tripping. I just think sometimes, you get some players that like that and say, hey, I'm different. And I think mostly all of them thought they were different. And Jerry Jones goes and says, you're not different. Okay? So this will be taken care of. Not a problem, at least at this point, other than the fact that it's probably taking a lot longer than it needs to, and I get that. So moving forward, talking about more in the training camp, want to go into the next room. I want to talk about the wide receivers. We got a good core of wide receivers. I think, really, if you look at where we're set at our strongest room, it's probably a good toss between the D ends. It's probably say more so the defensive ends and the wide receivers. Pretty short up, especially getting Pickens. You got a number one type wide receiver coming in, basically playing 1B. Okay. We also have the Tolbert, who is a veteran, who has he started out struggling his rookie year. Give him credit that he's adapted. He hadn't lost being with the team. Never been released, so he's worked and earned being a number 3. How solid he is as number 3, that's the question, and that's the other thing, that you got other receivers, and they're fighting for it. Right now, Jonathan Mingo looks really good. He's turning heads, at least from the outside. Don't know totally what the coaches are saying, but Mingo looks good. What I think, though, I see from Tolbert is making plays. He's making catches. You'll see Mingo, though. You'll see some other receivers make some acrobatics, some pretty flashy plays, and that pops. That stands out, But I think Tolbert definitely he's an offset of the style between, say, C.D. Lamb is one way, Pickens is another way, Tolbert is another. But then you look at Mingo. Mingo is a bigger receiver. Can go up, can be that possession type, that old school, what you call possession type receiver. Has a lot of skill. The Cowboys were on him. He was a player they looked to draft before and wasn't able to, because Carolina beat them too at the time they would be ready to draft him. And getting him, he just didn't work out there. Now, new place, new situation, new coaching staff, new system, he can flourish through. Looks like so far in training camp, he's definitely taken good advantage of it. So he's putting pressure on being that wide receiver 3. Now, so the question of everything is one, obviously, who's going to be the receivers they keep in that whole room when it comes down to the final cuts? Obviously, C.D. Lamb, George Pickens will be there. Cavante Turpin will be there. All right, that's 3 there. Looks like it'll be Mingo, and I'm going to say Tolbert for sure. Now, that's 5. Now, will they stay with that? Is that good enough? Is that good enough? Trayshawn Holden has been looking so good in the training camp that there could be fear that if he's released, he won't clear waivers and be on the practice squad. And so my thing is that do you put him on to make sure you save him? I would say to you that the other part of my thought is, do they just keep 6? Do they come out with 6 receivers? And then, and if they do 6, is it Jalen Cropper? Is it Jalen Brooks? Is it Flournoy? I get messed up. Flournoy. Or is it Trayshawn Holden? Again, Trayshawn Holden doesn't possess that athleticism, but he shows ball skills. He shows tremendous ball skills. He's standing out. These next couple of weeks here and in preseason will be the telltale. It's going to be a fight. it's going to be a fight. It's going to be some good competition. And be honest with you, for Jalen Tolbert, he's going to see some competition for a spot. Hey, Tolbert, stand out, because this is a new coaching staff. You don't have what they call as a sponsor, that coach that's behind you and wants you to make it. Okay? So it's open. And again, a good competition that I see the Schottenheimer coaching staff create makes for better players, makes for better product and players, because now you're on top of your game. You're working hard. Yeah, I do feel Tolbert's in trouble. So a lot of you thinking that in that sense there. So that's what I'm thinking about as far as a receiver room. I think it's going to be very good. One way or the other, we'll find out too when preseason comes. Will the running game be the support to help their passing game, or will the running game be strong enough to make the wide receiver, the passing game just that much more open and much more explosive? Look, you look at players like Jalen Hurts, quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts. You look at quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. You look at Josh Allen, guys who are big, huge threats to run. Even Mahomes. Mahomes ain't a running quarterback, but he can hurt you with his legs. Now he's the most skilled quarterback out of the guys I just mentioned. Josh Allen would be the second. Passing wise, I'm talking about passing skill wise. Dak would be third, ahead of Hurts and Lamar Jackson. And here's the thing that I would tell you. Jackson and Hurts, who have done exceptionally well, they're exceptionally good quarterbacks, okay? And I said about Jalen Hurts. They're exceptionally productive quarterbacks. They've won. Well, Jalen Hurts has won. Been to the Super Bowl twice, won one. Lamar Jackson has been league MVP. Hasn't been able to get far enough in the playoffs, but he's had much success. They're runners, and they have a good running game, including their ability to run. It makes it easier for your receivers to be more one-on-one, getting deep, because the safeties and everybody has to come up for the running game, because you're worried about that. Play action is deadly, and the threat more so of Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson on a keeper, because they can get yardage that you can get on a good pass play. It hurts. So you have to respect it, and it puts the defense in a very tentative situation. So look, I'm looking and hoping that if we have an explosive enough of a running game, with Dak using his legs a little bit more, which I think I see him doing more in training camp, which means he will be more so running. The schemes will allow him to run more. I think he was not hesitant to run. I think he was being held from running by the schemes in Mike McCarthy's coaching stint. This is going to make the passing game bigger. Now, passing game is going to be a big threat. Everybody backs off of it. We go to the run. And if the run can be explosive, now if they're going to get 4 to 5 yards of carry off the fact that you're playing and worrying about the pass, that makes it effective. That keeps us balanced. But what really would be nice if we have that home run hitter. Have that home run hitter out of the running game, where hey, that's 4 or 5 yards a pop more. When I say 4 or 5 yards, just understand that means there's big gains, because there's always going to be your 1 or 2, they're going to be your losses. But that means you're getting 15, 20-yard runs. And then when that offsets sometimes when the defense has a good play and you get maybe 1 yard or something like that. But we're averaging maybe 4 to 5 to 6 yards of carry, makes it a big threat. That again, somehow, either way, we could make that type of explosive running attack. That opens up the passing game. And with the weapons we have, not only just mentioned the tight ends, with Ferguson, Brevin Spanford, and even Schoonmaker, we make for a very potent offense on both sides. You can't just sit back and lay back on. So wide receivers is going to be very, very important. Balanced attack is going to only make the wide receivers that much more deadly. I'm hoping and I'm praying for it. I put my prayer hands, but I got my water in my hand. Now, real quickly, I'm going to tap on this real quick. I'm hearing a lot of talk again with Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs has been working. He's been rehabbing. You see him on the sideline doing drills, doing his own thing, personal stuff like that. Looks good. Looks to be sharp. All reports by what I've seen on video looks good. Now, things have been funky between his relationship and the organization. Their trust of him, their belief in him, and probably his belief in his feelings about how they treat him with him. Or maybe he just has straight apathy to the situation. I hear a lot of talk from some other people who are talking, because I do listen to other people's shows and I enjoy them, worrying about this situation that happened where he was doing a drill, was running to the end zone, was doing a flip in the end zone, and it seemed like he landed awkwardly now and laid there. He got up, and there's no reports that he's injured or anything like that. I looked at the video that I could find on it. Unless there's something else, I looked at it. And unless there's some other video I'm missing, he just flipped over a little bit flipped over, landed on his back, and he laid there. I think it was more about exhaustion. People trying to make it seem like he landed on his head or anything like that. And then I hear the talk of him supporting Micah Parsons like he's doing too much in that support. I don't know. Look, there's some people that are closer to me to the situation that may get a better feel of it. I think that's much ado about nothing, or much ado about very little. And it could be could be contentious between Diggs and the organization. But at the end of the day, and they've drafted other corners, they have them. Hey, until somebody comes in there and proves to do and put the numbers up that Trayvon Diggs in, I don't want to hear about nobody taking a spot. Now, the only other thing I said before when I talked about the corners is that, or talked about players we may not have next year, that could be Diggs simply because of the contract. Because I don't think they're going to give two cornerbacks big cornerback contracts. All right, I don't think they'll be that big. That'll be that. So if they decide they're going to put the money in Bland and keep him, then I think that's going to probably either be a renegotiation, a restructuring of Diggs' contract to keep him, or just outright release him. That's if they feel good about Revel as he comes back, and he's a rookie. He showed a lot of promise as a college player. All right. A great college player doesn't always turn into a great pro. Okay? Plenty of those. So I think just let this play out. Let Diggs do what he's doing. He's showing up. He's coming to work. Even though he didn't come at the time, he lost that money. I don't think that's him not wanting to put the work in at this point. I think he went to a training. He went to a trainer that he trusts, he gets along with his brother, and put in good work. Because from what I see and what I hear to back that up, he's looking good. Right? He's looking good out there as far as getting his rehab, and when he'll be back, that's the question. And they want to get him back right. So that's my take on Trey Diggs. I'm pulling for him. I like what he did for us, first and foremost. But I'm slightly biased because he's from the same hometown area. Being a Cowboys fan, love to see it. But hey, business is business, and I understand. So that's what I got for this part of the training camp. I think we're moving along. I think the coaching staff has his team energized and putting in the proper work. Whether it will work in the season when it counts, again, it remains to be seen. But so far, the energy level, the importance, the attention to certain details, the types of effort that the players are giving, and the accountability that the players are being held to. I'll say that again. The accountability that the players are being held to by this coaching staff is refreshing. And that usually makes a big difference in a team taking it to that next level. We have the talent. The Cowboys have the talent. We have one of the best quarterbacks in the game. We have one of the best receivers in the game. We have definitely one of the best defensive players in the game. And we have other players who are dynamic. We got some rookies we drafted well. I think we drafted very well. Our offensive line looks to be back to where it's usually liking to be, very prominent. So anyway, I like what we're doing so far in these first couple of weeks. But 2 weeks of a training camp doesn't a season make. I'll say it like that. Okay. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I didn't say it in the beginning of the show, but let's say it again. Please subscribe, like, and comment to the show. I appreciate any feedback on this. Like I said, we're getting rolling. Want to get this going. We're gonna have a little bit more fun. I'm gonna start having some guests after a while, and we're gonna talk some trash. We're gonna talk Cowboys, because that's what we do. We talk Cowboys. Talk to you next time, guys.